So, hi Paula, thanks for speaking to us. Something that I wanted to ask you is, as journalists, Jan and I are both asked why we don't write books, and Jan has written one, non-fiction, but I've never tried to write a book, and I'm really interested in where your stories come from.
Okay, so ideas for stories are everywhere, really. Sometimes I get inspiration from conversations around the dinner table with the family. Sometimes it's just things I overhear when I'm out and about. I really love nature as well, so it can be watching the birds in the garden. But yeah, ideas for stories come from life and just everything around me, really.
And tell us about your new book. It's called Oranges and Lemons. What's the premise of the book?
So in Oranges and Lemons, the protagonist, Jessica, she's 14 and she gets a calling from a little 6-year-old ghost in her town. And she really goes on a journey which involves finding out more about herself and her relationships with her friends, and a journey that helps her to work out some of the issues that she's dealing with, surrounding sort of childhood and teenage angst. And yeah.
And is it a young adult novel?
Uh, Not specifically young adult, it's more the age group slightly below that, so for ages 10 plus, whereas young adult tends to be more for your teenagers from 13 up to sort of 19 and beyond. But it's enjoyed by 10-year-olds and adults. Lots of people have read it and really enjoyed it. So
How do you think yourself into that age group? Do you just have a really good memory for what you thought and felt at that time of your life?
I do have to sort of take myself back and absorb myself in teenage life, and that has been a really useful tool, in fact. And it's amazing what memories do come back to you when you really absorb yourself back in that time, and you think about the things you did and the routines you had and the friends you had. And yeah, you have to completely immerse yourself back in that time and try and reimagine yourself as a teenager.
I don't think I want to do that.
And you've got two children yourself. Have you kind of watched them grow and sort of like going through different things as well?
Yes, yeah, that's really helpful. It really keeps you in that time, actually, when they're going through some of the issues that your protagonist might be going through. Yeah, it's a useful thing.
I was wondering how difficult or easy you find the writing process. We know that before you were a midwife, and not having had children, that seems to me to be excruciating. How would you compare it?
It's impossible to compare the two. Yeah, very different jobs. The midwifery job that I did was a very active physical job. Writing is obviously, well, it involves a lot of sitting down, really. Both jobs have an element of writing, but it's a very different style of writing as well. When you're recording really intricate details as a midwife, but in the fiction writing job, your imagination is allowed to wander. Yeah, very, very different.
Give birth to a book as opposed to helping people give birth to babies.
Yes, yeah, and it's been a wonderful process giving birth to my debut novel. It's been exciting and an adventure and quite scary at times as well. In the same way that having a child is scary, it's a scary thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of landed during or just before really challenging times for all of us. How have you been finding that?
Yeah, it's been quite challenging, Jill. It's been a difficult thing. I was just starting to get things off the ground. My book was published at the end of January. So I was starting to build up some momentum. I'd begun visiting bookshops, and you might know I had gone and done a tour of Yorkshire because the book is set in York. And my next task was then to return to Scotland and do a tour of the bookshops in Scotland, which just came at the wrong time. Lockdown happened and put a stop to that. So yeah, it's been quite difficult to know what direction to take and how to manage it in lockdown. And I think I've tried to do my best, but you never know if you're doing the right thing, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
You blog about your writing and so on, so I mean, you're keeping in touch with your readership.
Yes, yeah, and that's been fun.
yeah, I mean, I suppose we've all had to adapt to the online world, hence this discussion just now. But do tell us, where can we get copies of your book?
So the book's available from the publisher, who are Troubadour Books, directly from them. It's available from Amazon and all the online bookshops, so Waterstones, WH Smith's, Blackwell's. It's available as a hard copy, a Kindle version, various other ebook formats, so Kobo and Apple Books, and across the board, really. And it's available from some little bookshops, some in Yorkshire, none in Scotland yet, apart from a lovely little gallery up at Clachan of Campsie, which is quite local to me. Yeah.
So it's widely available. So what we're saying is,
yes,
buy Oranges and Lemons by Paula Andrews now.